All right, so today we're going to be taking a look at this socket fan light. If you don't know what a socket fan light is, I'm going to take this out of the box, show you how simple and easy this is to install, and by the time you get to the end of this video, you're going to want one for yourself. Now, this one was sent to me at no charge for this review. I really like fan lights, but the one thing that I really want to pay attention to is how bright is the light? Do I have different modes to turn that down just a little bit? And then how loud is the fan? I've done a lot of these fan lights, and sometimes that fan as it runs is just kind of irritating and obnoxious and loud. And so we're gonna check into that in detail here today. So I'm just taking this out of the box for the first time, just so that you can see how simple and easy this is to install. So right on top, you do have an owner's manual. Most likely these are going to be self-explanatory and you won't need the manual. You do have to assemble this, it looks like. The fan blades are laying right up here on top. And so the fan blades are just going to snap into the housing of the light itself. You do get a remote control, and then you also get an extension here. For example, we're going to be installing it right here underneath this lampshade. And if the fan is too large and it's going to hit the edges of the lampshade, I can put an extension in there, and so that it'll come down below the lampshade and we won't have to worry about that. So you do have that option. It's not absolutely necessary to use the extension, but if you need it, whether it's going to be on a ceiling or in a lamp, then you can use that if you needed to. And then you get the housing or the body of the light. And when we look at this, first thing I notice here is that the lights are not changeable. So once they burn out, it's done. You can't replace the light inside here, and I'm sure that there are LEDs in here that are going to be irreplaceable. You can also see on the housing here, this is where your fan blades are going to go, right here in the center, and then there's an arrow under each one of these little notches, and that's where you're going to snap your fan blade into. Now on the fan blade, there is a little knuckle here, so you will be able to snap that in place. There's also an arrow, so it tells you what direction to go. So I'm just going to slip that in there as so, just like that. And once you get those in there, you know that they're in there and they're not going to come out. Okay, quick, easy, simple to do, and you also do have good bearings in here. I mean, this just runs smooth as silk. So we're going to go ahead and get this installed into our light socket, and it looks like we are going to need the extension. So that extension is just going to screw into the socket. This is an E26 socket, so it is your standard American socket. Now, what I like about having the fan right here is that it sits right over my recliner. So during the summertime, or heck, even during the wintertime, you can sit there and you can be pretty warm and like to have just a little bit of air circulating. Having this right here is going to be right over the top of me. Now, this will also be good in a baby room, a toddler room, a bedroom, or any room in the house. It's going to be able to move air and to help circulate that around so that, one, you're not too hot, two, you're not too cold. The remote control does have a holder that you can secure to a wall, or you might want to put it on the side of a mantle so that you don't lose it. The remote does have batteries included. I can tell because it's got a little piece of insulation here, and we're just going to pull that piece of insulation and it should be good to go. So the first thing that we want to do is make sure that everything works. So we've got power, then we power it on, and then we can change the intensity of the light, and we can go super bright, or we can dim that down a little bit if we wanted to have it in a nightlight. Remember, that was one of the things that I was curious about, is can I dim that down if I'm watching a movie so that it doesn't become an irritant to me. So we have three different temperatures. We got 3000, which is kind of an amber. Then you got 4500, which is a typical standard light, and then we've got a cool white. And we can then turn the fan on from here as well. And now what we want to listen for is the sound. When I push my fan button a second time, that's medium and high. And here's what I want to say about the fan. It is in no way going to disturb a movie if it's sitting right above my head. It sounds just like a fan. There's no knocking, there's no plastic, there's nothing rubbing. As I said, the bearings inside this socket light are very smooth. It's quiet. It's a light that I would definitely recommend if you're looking for a socket light, or if you don't have the room for a large ceiling fan that's, whether it's 22 or 54 inches. This one right here is going to fit in a socket, in any socket anywhere in your house. Going to be able to circulate that air, keep you cool, keep you warm, whatever your need is at the time. Last thing I want to show you again is this remote. So on the remote, what you can do here is you can change the intensity of the light by pushing that button up or down. So you can go brighter or you can go less bright. You can change your 3 different temperatures. You've got your 3000, 4500, and your 6000 Kelvin. Then right here is where you're going to turn your light on. And by the way, with the fan running, you can shut the light off, or you can leave the fan running, or you can turn the light on and you can shut the fan off. Push the red button. What you're going to do here is turn everything off all at once. That's your fan and your light. Now to turn it back on, you got to turn your light on, then your fan on. You can't use the red button to do anything else except shut everything down all at one time. So, the fan light, the socket fan light from Eonini. It's a super nice light. It's a super quiet fan. It's one that's going to fit in any socket in your house, and it is a socket light that I would definitely recommend.